He's going to the store to get a 40-year-old E. He kissed me and told me I'll be back. I laid the fuck down and started taking a nap. I passed the fuck out cause I'm tired like a mother. That's when I heard her scream in the car burning rubber. I grabbed my gat and I ran outside. I saw my baby on the ground and they beating him down. They had him outnumbered 1 to 8. They calling him a fag and they kicking his face. I put my gat and I'm letting it spit. And I don't really care, give a fuck who I hit. They jump in their car, now they run like bitches. The dead motherfuckers just dug their ditches. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. You know it's was the G came to bring the rockets. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. I guess you picked the wrong fucking fag to fuck with. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. You know it's was the G came to bring the rockets. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. I guess you picked the wrong fucking fag to fuck with. Now my boo's in the hospital. Do you think they get away? That's impossible. Cause I'ma terrorize them like a gang of A-rats. Cause they picked the wrong fucking fag to gay bash. I know who they are cause I've seen them before. And now you know it's time for me to settle the score. So I call my dogs and we hit the streets. 3 craziest fags that you hate to meet. So we headed out to this country bar. We drove around the back and we spotted the car. So we laid low and then 4 came out. And when they turned around we stuck the gas in their mouth. Put them on their knees, now they're sucking our dicks. We nutted on their face and we watching it drip. Now get the fuck up, we give you 3 to run. 1, 2, the motherfuckers are done. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. You know that Twisted G came to bring the rockets. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. I guess you picked the wrong fucking fag to fuck with. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. You know Twisted G came to bring the rockets. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. I guess you picked the wrong fucking fag to fuck with. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Once, yo, there was a time back in the days, motherfuckers used to run up on fags and figure, you know, you could do whatever the fuck you want to them, you know what I'm saying? But this is like a new time, a new motherfucking age. So the next motherfucker you run up on trying to call yourself what? Gay bashing motherfucker? You gonna end up being a motherfucking fag yourself. Believe that shit, kid. Now we're hunting for the heads to rolls. 4 down and 4 motherfuckers to go. So we laid low and stay blazed on weed. That's when we get the call and that's all we need. We get the address of the place they rest. Grab the artillery and bags of sex. Kick in the door and we see our victims. 4 rednecks and the girls are with them. Step in the room and you can smell the fear. Don't nobody move cause the fags are here. But the parties, only watch you make it. Make all the guys strip and get butt naked. Put them on their knees, now we're fucking them all. Lick the shit off my cock, now you're rubbing my balls. Your girl's in tears and she watch you suck it. I guess you picked the wrong fucking fag to fuck with. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. You know Twisted G came to bring the rockets. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. I guess you picked the wrong fucking fag to fuck with. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. You know that Twisted G came to bring the rockets. Run from the faggots, run from the faggots. I guess you picked the wrong fucking fag to fuck with. Biatch, motherfuckers. Check yourself, motherfuckers. Next time you try to run up on a motherfucker, haha, might have something for your ass. Hanging out in LA when this dude drove by in this really funky Benz. I could tell right away this motherfucker had ends. Was a white dude, about 30-something. Kept staring at me, yo, like he wanted something. He called me over and he asked for directions. I saw his dick was hard, so I peeked his card. I said, you lying, you know you ain't lost. You wanna suck my dick while I'm jacking you off. And he said, oh no, there must be a mistake. I got a wife and a kid and I'm very, very straight. So I said, take my number and my name. You can call me up when you're sick of playing games. As I walked away, yo, I knew he would call. Cause if you see one fag, they can see them all. He won't say. So what the fuck you think? He needs some. So what the fuck you mean? He won't say. Cause if you see one fag, now you see them all. He won't say. So what the fuck you mean? He needs some. So what the fuck you think? He won't say. Cause if you see one fag, they can see them all. So I knew that he'd be climbing the wall. 1 week later and he finally called. He said his family's gone for a week or 2. And he was really bored and needed something to do. So I drove to his crib up in Beverly Hills. A bomb-ass house worth a couple of mils. He said he wasn't gay, he just wanted to check. And a half hour later he massaging my back. In his white room, he gave me some head. Went in the next room and fucked on his kid's bed. Fucked and we fucked like bitches in heat. I came on his face and all over the sheets. I knew that I was done when I started getting soft. I grabbed the kid's toe and I wiped my dick off. He's lying on the bed still trying to recover. I'm dressed and I'm out as my car burns rubber. So what the fuck you think? So what the fuck you need? Cause if you see one fag, then you seen them all. So what the fuck you think? So what the fuck you need? Cause if you see one fag, then you seen them all. The dick was so good that he just couldn't pass up. So all that week, yeah, I'm tearing that ass up. Cause he left to ride him and he left to suck him. And after I was done, I let my homeboys fuck him. Now his punk ass calls me every day. I told him we were through, then he said he would pay. So now twice a week I'm getting paid to tap him. He laced me with the cash and a Visa Platinum. 1 month later and the cat's out the bag. Cause this motherfucker started dressing in drag. But I did my thing and I had my fun with him. It's time to cut him off because I'm done with him. Crying like a bitch and he's starting to beg. He's falling on the ground holding on to my leg. Screaming don't leave, please twist the G. But this is what you get when you fuck with me. Ha. So what the fuck you think? So what the fuck you need? Cause if you see one fag, then you seen them all. So what the fuck you need? So what the fuck you think? Cause if you see one fag, then you seen them all.
This is Tom's wife. Tom is not gay, okay? I want you to stay away from Tom because he is not gay. We have a family and a son, and we have a life together. You stay away from you, son of a bitch. I just want to know why my toys sticky and my feet, they keep sticking to me. What?
I think about the past and it hurts. I'm just a little kid growing up in the church, fearing Jesus, believing in God. 8 years old and I knew I was on. Staring at the other little boys in the class. My mouth is dry, my heart's beating fast. I'm in the restroom, I'm taking a leak. And every chance I get, you know I'm taking a peek. They looking at me, so I turn away quick. I can't get caught staring down at their dicks. I wanna hold it in my hand, but I'm scared to try. I wanna put it in my mouth, and I don't know why. These are the things that I'm hoping to get every single night when I'm stroking my dick. I'm real confused, but there's no one to tell. I know my life is doomed, and I'm going to hell. Cause I'm living in the closet. See, I'm trapped in the closet. See, I'm living in the closet. Help me, I'm in the closet. See, I'm living in the closet. See, I'm trapped in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. Help me, I'm in the closet. I'm 13 and it's all getting worse. I'm going through puberty and this shit is a curse. 24/7 now I'm thinking about death, but I'm still a virgin and it's making me sick. I tried to get with this girl just to try to get off, but I started getting sick and my dick stayed soft. I knew that me and girls wasn't meant to be. I knew that fucking with that pussy wasn't meant for me. I met this guy named Tim who lived down the street. I used to sneak in his house when his mom was asleep. We used to suck dick and make love all night. I didn't know if it was wrong, but it felt so right. It was a secret that we vowed to keep. The sex was really good, but the guilt ran deep. The truth was, I was in love with a man, and it was something that this world could never understand. Cause I'm living in the closet. See, I'm trapped in the closet. See, I'm living in the closet. So help me, I'm in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. See, I'm trapped in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. So help me, I'm in the closet. Cause every day that I awake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Cause I'm a victim of my fate. Because this world ain't right with me. And some days I just stay high and watch the days just pass me by. But I still refuse to cry. Because this world ain't right with me. One day, me and Tim got caught, and the consequences was worse than I thought. My parents threw me out, and I got disowned. Now it's me against the world, and I'm all alone. They cursed me out, and they called me a fag. I left with all my clothes in a plastic bag. I learned the streets can be cold and vile. And believe me, if you're gay, then it's twice as wild. I fought a lot, I've been stabbed and shot. Motherfuckers trying to kill me, cause I don't like twat. In no time, I learned to ride for mine. And not to give a fuck if you like my kind. I'd rather be dead than be living a lie. And I'm gonna be a fag till the day that I die. So now they got me not giving a fuck. And I'm saying fuck the world, and I'm living it up. Cause I'm living in the closet. See, I'm trapped in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. So help me, I'm in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. See, I'm trapped in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. Help me, I'm in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. See, I'm trapped in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. Help me, I'm in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. See, I'm trapped in the closet. Cause I'm living in the closet. So help me, I'm in the closet.
Holy shit. Thank you, British James, for that wonderful playlist. Motherfucker. Mr. Bones, I know you paid for 10. James reminded me that he did pay for a playlist a week or so ago that he didn't send me yet, and he decided to send it to me tonight. And holy fucking shit. Speaking of which, we got another 10 from British James here.
Have you heard of Jesus?
Says, respect for playing it. I knew it was your type of music when you said it was black music you liked. Well, thank you very much for the $10. Holy fuck. That was uncomfortable. Oh. Fuck. I'm gonna suck the fucking wind out of my sails. Oh. Okay. Eldritch Fan has some erotica. We'll read that real quick from the chat while I try to regain my fucking composure. Jesus Christ. I think you topped the All Saints one, James. I think when it comes to just that was a miserable experience. Dennis was furious as he walked across the... This is Eldritch Fan writing smut in the chat because that's what my audience does. Dennis was furious as he walked across the parking lot from the box factory. He had really wanted to tell off the boss, and he was running through all the things he wished he'd said. He was so distracted he didn't stop to check the doors or look in the back seat before getting behind the wheel. But he noticed when a beautiful redhead popped up in the rearview mirror. Her green eyes glared at him in the rearview mirror, and he felt a gun pressed against the back of his head. "Drive," the redhead hissed in a voice with a faint Irish accent. "Try anything and your brains will be on the windshield." Okay, Dennis said. Only then did he remember the police sirens he heard earlier. But too late, he drove his beautiful redhead kidnapper into the night. Not sure about how the plot goes. I'm thinking she marries him for a green card. Planning to kaboom something, but things look cool. Jesus. Okay, well, Blue Team says, what songs were those? If you missed them, I wouldn't go back. I wish I could miss them. Google, how do you unhear something? How do you unknow something? Jeez. Okay. Well, we got some stuff to talk about. I was just on Forney stream. If any of you managed to catch that, I was on there for a little while. We were chatting about stuff. Forney might hop in on here. Who knows? Maybe we're putting the band back together. The old guard. Whatever gets me super chats that doesn't involve me having to listen to fucking gay rap music, explicitly homosexual rap music would be nice. Or really explicitly homosexual music of any genre, I would prefer to not listen to when you get right down to it. Okay, so we got a little while ago we played Sungrad Studios, who is Miyamoto's strongest fucking ball washer, and we're gonna play some more from Sungrad Studios tonight. Here's a special message for Doug Bowser. Folks, if you enjoy the content I put out, it's streamlabs.com/thebecklove, paypal.me/thebecklove. Send donations. I need more donations, and frankly, after what British James just put me through, I deserve more donations, okay? Good God. Okay, so let's hear what Sungrad Studios is up to. He has a message for Doug Bowser. Yes, he looks like Ian Miles Strong.
Hello, Mr. Bowser. My name is...
It is funny that the head of Nintendo of America is named Bowser. That is funny. I mean, that's old news. Reggie stepped down years ago. So, I mean, I've had a laugh of it before, but it is kind of funny. And it is funny that the new head of Nintendo of America is named after a villain, right as Nintendo steers heavy into its fucking villain arc.
Mr. Dulé. I develop games. In the past, I've worked as industry consultant, PR manager, and liaison.
I love that we're in a conference room. I mean, not really. Obviously green screen. But I love the conference room backdrop. Can we get... I want somebody so desperately... Eldritch fan continues his story. Yeah, maybe this marriage thing could work out after all, Aaron said thoughtfully, propped up on one elbow as she looked at Dennis tied to the bed. Well, that's lovely. Thank you. Honestly, keep it up, Eldritch fan. That's a fucking palate cleanser after what James just put us through. All right? I encourage more heterosexual erotica from Eldritch fan in the chat there.
Event manager and public speaker. I was hoping we could have a bit of a discussion today. There is currently negative feedback online about the Switch 2, which I'm sure...
Yeah, because it's bullshit. To reiterate, for those of you that had not been paying attention to it, Nintendo announced its Switch 2, which will be more expensive than the Switch 1. The games will be $20 to $30 more expensive on average than Switch games. It's $10 extra if you want a physical copy, not just digital, and you might get only a pretend physical copy. Some of these physical copies only have a code to download the game. So all in all, it's pretty fucking terrible. And a lot of people are unhappy with it. And I predict it's not going to sell well. I mean, look, Sony and Microsoft maybe could get away with this shit because their fans just would tolerate it, but like Nintendo's audience is primarily more casual gamers, more family oriented. Like, yeah, maybe the Nintendo faithful will fucking go for it and it'll do Wii U numbers at best. I mean, I'm part or was of the Nintendo faithful. I had a fucking Wii U. I'm not getting the Switch 2. And not just because I'm fucking broke right now. Streamlabs.com/thebecklove, by the way. But because even if I was flush with cash, I'm just not getting it on principle.
You might have heard of by now. Much of the negativity online is being fueled by false rumors, people spreading misinformation to fuel the negativity. A lot of what we see online, it seems that people are just maliciously making things up, posting screenshots.
No, a lot of this is unknown and people are speculating. Let's be fucking real, okay? Like, yeah, there's some people that are trolling and sending out fake shit, but really, it's just we don't know. Okay, because Nintendo has tried to downplay the fucking price. They didn't even put the price in the fucking direct. You literally had to see it later on their fucking website. So, you know, this is their fucking fault. The Fallen Kang tips $3. Speaking of erotica, did Becklov see the British feminist that got a game removed from Steam? I did see that, actually. There was some, according to her, some British feminist got a game removed from Steam that was supposedly a rape simulator. I've heard that before. I heard people claim Night Trap was that back in the fucking 90s, and it wasn't. So I don't know if it really was that, even if it was free fucking speech. Congratulations, British fucking feminist lady. You protected fictional fucking women made of polygons and ones and zeros. Congratulations. Anyways,
the fake conversations and spreading that online because they know that it will spread. This outrage farming behavior is unfortunately distracting from the actual important issues, and there's nothing that can be done.
What important issues? Like the fact that I want to own physical media? That I don't think I should have to pay $10 more. I don't think I should have to pay $90 for physical media that might only be pretend physical media. Those important issues, maybe?
About the outrage and the hate mobs. There's absolutely nothing anyone can do to make that situation better. There's no point in wasting time on people that do not want to listen and they have no interest in buying Nintendo products anyway. And I'm hoping that I can share a bit of my insight with you today. What is important is listening to the people who do want to be your customers but are...
Look, man, there's a lot of people that are just taking glee in this because they just hate Nintendo. All right? There's a lot of people in the gaming scene that resent Nintendo because they just, oh, Nintendo's for kiddies. You just didn't outgrow Mario. And games are supposed to be serious. And that's why I'm going to buy The Last of Us for the 14th fucking time. Yeah, there's a lot of people that just don't like Nintendo. They don't like the fact that the systems are underpowered. You know, even though who fucking cares? Like, oh my god, it's not as powerful as my $4,000 gaming PC. Like, who fucking cares? Like, there's a lot of people that are unfair to Nintendo and always have been. You know, Rich from Review Tech USA in 2013, Nintendo's going to go out of business because it doesn't have the Call of Duty games that his fat ass likes to play. There's a lot of that. A lot of the people making videos shitting on the Switch 2 are unfair. And guess what? It doesn't matter. Because regardless of their motivation, $90 for a physical game that may or may not be a physical game is fucking unacceptable. Point blank. Red Pill Renegade says, I can sum up his nauseating video like this. Don't ask questions, just consume product. Get excited for next product. That meme is more accurate with each passing day. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. I mean, granted, there's an outrage factory of people that are just, you know, don't ask questions, just bitch about next product. I mean, there's that subset of YouTube too. There is sadly not a lot of honest fucking critique on this platform at this point. For a number of reasons. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are just unfair to Nintendo. For whatever reason, they have a fucking axe to grind against it, okay? Oh my god, I'm mad that the system isn't as powerful as my $4,000 gaming PC. I'm mad that Zelda games aren't exactly like the one Zelda game I fell in love with when I was 10. You know, there's a lot of that shit, and it's annoying and it's gay. Whatever, man. Nintendo makes really good games. Nintendo has the following it does for a fucking reason. Nintendo deserves that fucking following. It's on it. I knew that shit like this would happen in the gaming industry. Ridiculous prices, moving us away from physical media. Ultimately, the gaming industry wants to just be live services and mobile games and, Fortnite and shit like that till the end of time. That's all it wants to do. That's all it wants to make for you, ultimately. That's where it's going. That is the direction it's all coalescing in. Nintendo was one of the last places that made solid, they weren't bloated budget games that had to make all the money. Solid single player experiences. Games you could trust around your family. Wasn't fucking, fat nog troon walking simulators. It wasn't bloated AAA slop. Nintendo has the loyal following it does for a reason. That's a fact. All right? And there's a bunch of people that resent the company, again, for a number of other reasons. All that said, what they are now doing is not okay. And no matter how fucking great Ocarina of Time was, no matter how much I fucking enjoyed Breath of the Wild or Mario Galaxy or what the fuck else ever, this isn't okay. Like, it's not. So you could sit here and you can deflect Sungrad Studios. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of people that are unfair to Nintendo. I know. I've seen this for 15 fucking years now. There are a bunch of people that resent Nintendo gamers because, shit, during the Switch's lifetime. You're off there buying The Last of Us for the 47th time on your fucking PS5, and I'm having fun with whatever goofy fucking colorful horse shit Nintendo put out. You sit there and be mad that my $200 fucking system isn't as graphically powerful as your $5,000 gaming PC. Cool, bro. Eldritch Fan continues his story here. Where the hell have you been? It's Boomer Boss roared. You drop off the face of the earth for a month and think you can just waltz back in here, you little worm. Dennis hauled off and punched him in the face. Leaning against the door, Aaron smirked at her husband. All of Dennis's former co-workers gasped as Dennis strutted back and kissed his beautiful redhead wife. Then they got in the car and drove off to the sunset. Well, that's awesome. Ice Cream Man says, the disconnect between Nintendo's basic bitch games and the culture's insistence that they are amazingly revolutionary best thing since sliced bread is what bothers me the most. Comes off as people who live in a bubble and don't... I don't know whether anybody's saying that about Nintendo games. Nintendo games are consistently fun. That's what they are. No, they're not revolutionary and haven't been for a very long time. So fucking what? They're consistently fun. And that is more than can be said
Have you heard of Jesus?
about the entire rest of the industry. And again, I say all that to say that what they're doing right now with the Switch 2 is not okay. Just because there's a lot of people that have a fucking grudge against the company for whatever reason. And a lot of it I see, frankly, is, was it one guy I heard, oh, you just like Nintendo because you didn't outgrow Mario. And there it is with these people. They think that their fucking stupid, like, escapist fake fiction is so much more adult and serious. To see what a work of art The Last of Us is. No, I don't, actually. It looks like dog shit to me. It looks like boring, fucking generic dog shit to me. I would rather Bing Bing Woohoo. But I'm not Bing Bing Woohooing with an $80 physical copy of something. I have old Bing Bing Woohoo games I can Bing Bing Woohoo with. John Steele tips $1 and says, dance, monkey, dance. Thank you very much for that. Every dollar is greatly appreciated. Streamlabs.com/thepekloff. We're going to watch a little bit more Sungrad here, and then we're probably going to hop into the Discord chat if anyone wants to call in.
In a financial position where they are priced out of being able to enjoy the Nintendo Switch 2 games. Those people matter. There are people who...
Yeah, bro. And you know what Doug Browser said? He said, go buy a Switch 1. Even though the Switch 1, they're not even cutting the price on. See, the big thing with Sungrad is, for whatever reason, he thinks if he sucks Doug Bowser and Miyamoto's dick hard enough, he's going to get a job at Nintendo. Chat says, I've never seen a game called The Last have so many releases. Red Pill Renegade says, to be fair to Nintendo, at least I was able to enjoy playing consoles like the Wii without burning out on me within 2 years like the high-powered Xbox did with the Ring of Death. Beckloff, how much is fun worth to you? Well, look, man, part of the other appeal with Nintendo, and this has gone away in the last better part of a decade, was, it used to be more of a budget option. The Wii was the least expensive of its generation. The Switch was. I think the Wii U was, too. The Switch 2 just decided, fuck that. Well, it's 10 times more powerful than the Switch. Who gives a fuck? Can we be realistic for a second? As much as people want to, sit here and fucking spurg about the graphicing and processing power of their fucking console or their, PC rig that costs the same as a fucking car. Who gives a fuck? How much do you need? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't seen a substantial leap in graphics from generation to a generation since the PS3, if I'm being fucking generous. Since PS3, Xbox 360, if I'm being fucking generous. The Switch is supposedly 10 times more powerful than the Switch 2. Or the Switch 2 is 10 times more powerful than the Switch. I don't see anything about Donkey Kong Bonanza that doesn't look like you could fucking run on the Switch. They show the upgraded Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And it looks slightly better, I guess. And this isn't just a Nintendo thing. I see this shit all the time. I see Sony bros going, look at the PS5 Pro compared to the PS5. And they'll show two pictures and the coloring is slightly different. And I don't even know which one is supposed to look better. It's just a slightly different lighting engine. So yeah, this is why I wanted to play his video, and we didn't get far into it, but we got the point. This is something I'm seeing a lot of Nintendo, a lot of Switch 2 apologists try to point to. That there's a lot of people that just fucking, they have a hate boner against Nintendo, and they have for a decade or two. And they want to be like, well, see? Now, see? And it's yeah, they're unfair. They argue in bad faith. I get it. So what? Just because there's a bunch of motherfuckers that are mad that Nintendo doesn't have their shooty Call of Duty game they like, or whatever the fuck they're going on about. Just because of that doesn't mean any of what Nintendo's doing right now is okay. It's not. Chad says the obsession with graphics has destroyed the industry. Like I said, I haven't seen a substantial leap since the PS3. And part of that is, by the way, diminishing returns. I'm not saying there isn't ample room to fucking improve graphics. There is. But you're never going to see a leap again like 8-bit to 16 or 32-bit. You're never going to see a leap again like 2D to 3D. You're just never going to see those kind of... There's just going to be diminishing returns to some extent. And part of that is the industry throttling itself, I admit. But part of that is just going to be natural. They're not... That is a reality you have to face at some point. And who cares, man? why even obsess over that shit? Ice Cream Man says, I think the only leap left is 100% photorealistic holodeck technology. See, the problem with trying to get more and more photorealistic is that you run into the uncanny valley is the biggest problem. That's why you're better off just rendering an actual art style. But part of the problem is a lot of people making games just wish they were making movies. Huh. Illustrator says there's no point in making graphics more sophisticated than your eye and mind can process. Yeah, there also comes a point where it's like, my eyesight's only so fucking good when you get right down to it. Like, oh my god, we have this slightly minute fucking, there's slightly more pixels in the big vampire mommy's ass. Like, alright, man. I mean, it's cool, I guess. At a certain point, none of that shit matters, alright? I'll tell you what I want from the fucking gaming industry. I want a physical copy to be a physical fucking copy. I want the game in its fucking entirety to be stamped on that disc or put on that cartridge. So that I have a genuine fucking copy that I can keep for as long as I want. Sell? Heaven forbid I sell. I want a fucking console that's reasonably priced. That means $300. Tops. Especially nowadays. You know, in the old days, you got a console and it came out of the box with 2 fucking controllers and a game. I want games that are fun. I want games that are sexy. I want hot women in games again. Okay? That's another thing. I don't want PS5's, fucking fat nog troon simulator. I don't want every game to have a woman that's seemingly modeled off of Deborah Wilson from Mad TV. We could do that. Here's another thing I'd like in the gaming industry. I'd like there to be licensed games again. Actual fucking licensed games with the tiniest bit of effort in it. Not, here's a skin in Fortnite. Here's more freemium horse shit. So yeah, a lot of people are unfair to Nintendo. You're right, Sungrad Studios. So what? Nothing that they're doing right now is acceptable. This is utter fucking control. Utter fucking greed. Alright? It's not the Trump's tariffs. It's not even really inflation. If games went from 60 to 70, I would call that inflation and just suck it up. Probably would buy less. But whatever, I'd suck it up. Most people would. Again, everything's going up in price, and a lot of that is because of the dollar is fucking more worthless. That's not... Nintendo didn't print money during COVID. That's not their fucking fault. But going to $80 and $90 is not because of inflation. That's because of greed. $80 for a digital copy. Tariffs don't apply to digital fucking goods. Alright, I'm going to hop into the Discord. see. I don't feel like watching the rest of that sun grab. You get the point with him. Fucking clown. I'm told he used to have a lot of credibility. He decided to flush it all down the fucking commode here the last couple months. Oh my gosh. Oh, looks like we already got John Steele in the chat there.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Ice Cream Man, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you today? Do I sound like I'm in a wind tunnel?
No, you sound all right. No worse than my audio usually sounds. I sometimes purposely stream from a wind tunnel just to fuck with my audio.
Yeah, I do usually have to turn the volume up way up when I'm listening to you. I've gotten used to it, though. It's part of the charm.
I don't know why it does that, too, by the way, because some days it won't. Some days it just...
Well, funnily enough, it sounds fine here on Discord.
Yeah, no, it's only on his.
Yeah,
his
it's a
box that
YouTube
he
thing.
has from 2004. Because he's such a fucking cheap bastard, he won't fucking figure out what the fuck.
No,
is
I
wrong with it.
got a good, what is this, Blue Yeti mic from, it's 10 years old. I'm not going to lie. It's 10 years old at this point.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I have to max out everything. I have to max my headphones and the audio on the thing too, just to fucking hear what he's saying.
I should probably take one of them air cans and maybe try and blow some dust off the top of it. That might be part of the problem.
Oh, it can't fucking hurt.
I mean, it might help. I don't know. Maybe it'll break it. I don't know. That'll be the last. The dust was holding it together. Once
I'm not an expert.
Once I start blowing it, it just blows away.
But you're not online yet? We're not online right now?
No, we're live. We're live
okay.
live on the YouTubes.
Okay. Right. The little icon. I don't know, something about your show. Well, it probably happens to other shows too, but when you go live, a lot of times I get the bell icon about after you've been on for an hour. It literally
that
pops
happens
up.
to me on some stuff. Either that or I'll get it 10 minutes prior.
Well, that's not too bad then, because then you can go check and then you can find out. But when you get it, you say, oh, okay. There's been times in the past where I'd be like, oh, I'll click, I'll say, oh, Chris is on, and I'll just click it over, and then you yeah. Anyway, so that's about it, folks. I think I'm gonna. I'm all right.
That's because I not get enough super chats. I need more super chats. I'm a broke, unemployed bum. All right. I need more money.
Yeah. So everybody should finance Chris's lifestyle.
I can't afford these $90 Nintendo games with this super chats. All right.
Well, yeah, I got a question, a financial question. Maybe you can help me with. So I was wondering, I got some T-bills coming up for maturity, and I was wondering, should I purchase them on the secondhand market now, or wait for the auctions?
I don't know.
Well, my thinking is that the possibility is that I try to keep everything under a year when I do my treasuries, literally T-bills, from 1 month to 1 year, and I was just wondering, should I go to the longer end of the curve, or should I stay within that range?
Man,
and try to lock in a rate.
I mean, the market in general, I think, will go up a lot here soon. I think once the tariffs settle, but I don't know about interest rates and shit.
Yeah, but we're in a recession, so the thing is about interest rates is I think the Federal Reserve is going to be forced to slash rates when we go into a recession. So that would mean that the short-term yields will come down.
Oh, just
John, for a man who hates Jews, why do you know so much about interest rates?
Well, just tangentially related, I saw today because I guess Lauren Boebert bought, or maybe it was Marjorie Green Taylor. She bought a bunch of stocks when they crashed, and then they popped back up the next day, and she made some money. And so Adam Schiff is out there now saying, we need to do something about insider trading in Congress. And I'm like, cool. I'm not arguing with you for once, buddy.
Yeah, well, a lot of people did that, made a lot of money.
This is a bipartisan thing as far as I'm concerned. I would love to know why Nancy Pelosi and Dan Crenshaw are both millionaires.
Well, there's not really a law against insider trading in Congress. It's a little bit more complicated than that.
I'll be honest with you. I see this law proposed a lot, and it never goes anywhere because why would Congress vote against their own interests? But outlawing sitting congressmen, senators, or representatives from owning stock, I would be completely okay with.
No, here's the way you would do it because that's not really practical. What you can do is like what Donald Trump did. There's something there's a vehicle called a blind trust.
Yeah, that's a step in the right. I mean, it's not as far as I would go, but I'd support that.
Yeah, so that means you're not in charge of your investments while you're in office.
But yeah, I mean, Dan Crenshaw's actually basically said flat out he insider trades. Like
because it's not illegal.
He's a very stupid man, and he just flat out admits when he's doing shit wrong. And I know it's not illegal, but it pisses people off. And he's like, if you ban it, you're not going to get super smart people in Congress like me. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, because it's a fucking midwet.
I'm like, that's awesome, Dan. I seriously, like.
He didn't really say that, did he?
He said you'll get a lower quality of people because there won't be as much.
Get any lower than
because there won't be as much money in it. And it's like, Dan, you're literally the only job you held before this is just murdering people for the Pentagon. You know, which in all fairness, I believe is one more job than Pelosi had. So you got that going for you.
Or Biden.
Yeah, or Biden or Bernie. I mean, so at least AOC was a bartender.
Ernie got fired from a commune. That's how bad he was.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Like, let's be honest, it's called civil service for a fucking reason. It's about fucking serving the public.
Look,
and if these guys can't fucking, do that fucking job, it's like, oh shit. How are you gonna fucking?
There's a big problem I have, and this is a bipartisan thing, and it's not even just it's politics in general. I'll expend this to like media personalities, like Charlie Kirk's a good example. Motherfuckers that have never held a job down in their life want to tell me how the world should be run. And I feel like just we as a people need to put our foot down with that. It was like a year or two ago, I remember Charlie Kirk was whining about Juneteenth, and he's like, no one should have off this day. It should just be another work day. And I'm like, Juneteenth is bullshit, Charlie, but you've never worked a day in your life. Don't tell me when I should have off. Like, shut up. Like, Charlie Kirk is a perfect example because he actually, right out of high school, he applied for West Point because he was going to be in the military because he was a big conservative and patriotic. And he didn't get into West Point. And then he didn't want to be in the military anymore because he didn't want to do it if he wasn't in charge. And now he gets, I don't know, Koch brother money or something to fucking argue with college kids about Israel. And like, I don't want to hear about how the world should be structured from you. I want more people in politics that have actually worked for a fucking living.
There's still a class system in most countries. It doesn't fucking matter where you are, right? Like, Chris, again, you're Charlie Kirk. I guarantee, look at a class system and it sounds kind of like commie gook, and it's fucking rightfully so to an extent. But I guarantee, like, if you entered sort of like the realm of, like, say, a Ben Shapiro, and you were like, oh yeah, I'm like a genuine sort of like, I do like YouTube and stuff and yada yada yada. They'd look at you and be like, yeah, you're actually not part of that fucking sort of stream of sort of like YouTube we want, and they'd fucking reject you. They'd almost like a fucking like a white sort of blood cell, just like.
I get that there's an elite there, but it's just we as a people need to take that like. To some extent, you get the government you deserve, and we as a people need to value that more. I always hear Republicans shitting on AOC by pointing out that she used to be a bartender. And look, there's a lot of reasons to shit on AOC. That's not one of them. The fact that she actually worked an honest fucking job is not a slight against her. If anything, I dream of a country where, look, the Senate is more elite. I get that. It always will be, and it arguably should be. But the House of Representatives is supposed to be closer to the people. And if it were up to me, every red district would have like a guy named Kyle with a Monster Energy drink hat, and he used to drive fork truck. And every blue district should have like a 300-pound black woman that used to be a shift manager at Popeyes. All right? And they can argue. And you know what? It would be better. It would just be better. The reason I'm on the Democrats' mailing list, and it was a mistake, but you may remember on this channel, we sent $1 live to, I don't even remember her name. It was like Shanae Shabubu Jackson. Some 400-pound black chick was trying to outseat Steny Hoyer in the Democrat primary. And I was like, good. She's probably a communist piece of shit, but at least she fucking worked for a living and believes in something. It's not some DNC fossil like Steny Hoyer. Plus, it would be very, very funny if he lost his job to a 300-pound black woman. So that alone made me like,
I remember that.
I want to pay the black Israelites as he's like unpacking his desk to just be like, cry, white boy. Like, because that shit's funny. But yeah, that's what I want more of. I want to see more people that actually worked a fucking honest job. I wouldn't mind seeing more veterans in Congress if it was like ex-gunnery sergeants that say fuck too much. Not, you know.
No, hold on a second. You said, here's my thing about, I don't necessarily disagree with the wanting more work. I'm just saying it would make a fucking difference. I mean, all these people are bought and paid for it. How much is AOC worth now?
Maybe.
How much is AOC worth now? And how much is AOC? Hold on, let me hold on. How much is AOC worth? When she won the election.
You know
so
what?
Just compare her net worth now compared to her net worth
actually,
then.
she in particular is not worth as much as you'd think. She didn't really go the Dan Crenshaw route of completely selling out. Let me look this up because
she's only like in her second term or something.
I saw this a little while ago. AOC net worth, because it's not as much as you'd think. No, I mean she did get fucking wealthier. Don't get me wrong. Her net worth is estimated at between $45,000 and $47,000.
Oh, no, that ain't right. That ain't right. I know what you mean. That's bullshit. That's total bullshit. I don't
however, there are other sources that claim it could be as much as 1.3 million. So
yeah,
I'm going to split the difference there and say it's probably under $1 million. If I had to guess, because I'm sure like one of those sources was like the Young Turks and one of them was like the Daily Wire. So probably split the difference between it though. That said, though, she didn't go the full like Nancy Pelosi route. Like, she has not become ridiculously like a lot of them do.
Yeah, but Nancy Pelosi's been in there. She's held elected office.
Well, hang on. Let's contrast this. I want to see Dan Crenshaw because I saw that a while ago and I believe it was a shitload. Crenshaw net worth. Okay, so Dan's at a cool $5 million, and there's not a lot of debate on that. No one's really disputing it. Actually, no. There's a little bit between 5 and 8. I'm seeing. And let's see. He says he doesn't have
3 million here, 3 million there.
Yeah, he should send a super chat of 3 million just so he can get down to 5. Good honest number there. He could tell me all about how Israel is cool for a nice super chat of 3 million. Look, people talk about things like this and they talk about term limits, and yeah, none of that is like a silver bullet. I just believe it would help. Like, yeah, they might sell out, but it would just be nice if somebody had at least went in with some manner of real world fucking experience.
I've always been in support of some kind of mandatory, you have to work in retail for 5 years kind of law.
You know, I mean, I always joke about that. People talk about mandatory military service, and I'd much sooner mandatory fucking McDonald's service because I think that teaches you more.
It's also just on a related note. It really seems like it's just been a kind of a boomer thing to what's the word I want to use? Like I remember when I was growing up, like all the people in like the boomer generation, they would basically like disgrace working in fast food. Like a lot of those kinds of normal jobs were they kind of like push this notion that they're beneath people. I always thought that was kind of weird.
Well, I remember one particular guy I used to argue with who thought it was a huge dig on me that I quote worked at a box factory. And I mean, I worked at a factory. It wasn't a box factory, but whatever. I wasn't going to dox my fucking place of employment, particularly when I had his crazy Australian butt buddy trying to come after me.
I miss those days.
But
Now, I
Like-
remember the whole Box Factory thing, but I forgot about the Australian guy that I think was.
Yeah, he called like a boss of mine from 3 jobs ago and started chewing him out about how I said hurtful things on the internet, which I wish I would have heard the conversation because that probably was hilarious. Because he messaged me and he's like, "I'll have you know that I called so and so at so and so company, and I told him all about how you hurt somebody's feelings on the internet." And I'm like, "Did you record it? Because I'd like to hear that."
Yeah, but I think you were kind of. I don't remember the whole mythology behind this, but I think you were kind of friendly with that guy, or maybe it was.
No, I wouldn't. He might have been in the Discord. I don't know. But
I think he was friendly with Matt on the. Because he kind of Matt used to quote some of his stuff.
Yeah, I think he quoted his blog, but I wasn't really
Yeah,
friendly. But yeah, he went hard on me. He's like, "I'll have you know, I called the cyber police." And I'm like, "All right, cool, bro." And,
No, because I remember him giving you props for having me on because I used to bring up because like before I got on your show way back. I mean, this is going way back years and years ago, but I totally kind of like hyper influenced your show to talk about the JQ because like before that you guys didn't really talk about it.
You're a fucking liar, John. You've never spoken about JQ.
yeah, I've never heard you bring this topic up, John.
Fucking talking
This is
shit.
news to me.
You've never mentioned the JQ. Fucking absolute bullshit.
I always thought you worked for Daily Wire, if I'm being honest.
That's under a nom de plume.
I say worked because they're imploding. I'm sure if you did, you would have been fired.
Yeah, actually, I heard about that. There's all sorts of rumors about them. I don't know if they're going to go out of. I'm not even sure how they fucked them. What apparently has caused this?
Yes. Yeah, John,
you
it was
know,
called
I heard an
John, it was
interesting
called
theory.
USAID.
Yeah, that's
kind of
exactly what I
came out of
heard.
business.
Soon as the USAID money went, Daily Wire started getting. Now they were having problems before, but things seemed to get really, really escalated in their problems department when the USAID money dried up.
I think I can explain it. They spent too much money on that wire that's meant to go around New York to make New York an entire room or house or building.
Yeah, too much. The budget of string around the office on Saturday.
Like, can I be honest?
Too
Like,
much.
like, I'm not sure if I should be a believer, but I'm one of those guys who thinks if I'm grifting God, I think I'm in a bad spot. Like, I generally think, like, same like those Catholics who think, like, oh shit, it's anal. At least it's not real sex. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, it's not real sex. It's sodomy. It's named after that city turned into salt.
Dude, that's not just the Catholic thing. As much as I love to shit on the Catholics, I remember, at least in my high school days, there were a lot of evangelical girls that thought the butthole was a loophole.
It's not a loophole. It's actually a fucking.
It's an actual hole.
It's actually no. It's a sand trap. It's like no. You went from sex to sodomy.
See this whole thing about the like that being a loophole thing. Like the Catholics didn't believe this. 'Cause I mean, when I was in high school, like if you like fucked a chick in the ass, like I mean, I didn't fuck a chick in the ass until I was in college.
No one officially believes that. I'm just saying there's a lot of laymen that have convinced themselves.
There's a
No,
joke
this
about
is a
it.
loophole.
Yeah, well, because I mean, when I was in high school, like it, like in fairness, I mean, I grew up during, you know, because I'm older than dirt, but I grew up in New York City, like when AIDS was a thing. Like they didn't. I mean, I remember like when I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade when AIDS like came
It's
first
still
came
a
out.
thing. I mean, we didn't cure it.
No, I mean, but it was like
Yes.
they didn't know what it was. They just know all these like fags were dying, and it was like you know, in fairness, like they blew it up because if you didn't live in like New York or San Francisco, like no one got AIDS. Let's be honest. Like I mean, back then I'm talking about.
What you were near Magic Johnson?
Or well, he Magic Johnson literally owned. He was based in L.A., but he literally had owned a co-op outside of Madison Square Garden that he used to like have fuck parties every time he played in New York, and he probably had ones in like Boston and you know every other big city. Where,
I hear that
you know,
Diddy was conceived at these fuck parties. That's actually
yeah,
where it
probably.
came from.
But that's how he got AIDS. He was fuck, and that's another thing is like the whole AIDS thing is you only get that from butt sex because. He never gave it to us. You look at all these people that got AIDS, like
again,
their wives never got it. Like
John, love
Tommy
you, brother.
Morris.
Look at the old monkeypox. Do you remember when like mpox was meant to be a thing, and it was like, oh, it was hyped
not a
up
gay
to be like,
disease.
it was hyped up to be the next like corona, and then it just turned out, oh shit, unless you're actually like part of a certain demographic that has
James,
certain
James.
inclinations.
It wasn't just gay guys. How do you explain all those kids and dogs getting it?
Yeah, that's oh god, that's what
Explain
I was
that
getting
with your science.
at.
You know, I gotta just
Christopher
I gotta say
Hitchens
something
couldn't
about the
explain
Cox. Just really funny. So there was a clip on the news, like a New York news station, and you know they were touting this thing that like you know monkey, it's not a gay disease, right? And then they had the line for the vaccine like lined up, and like it went like, do you know those? I don't know if you've been in New York City. Like I know James has. Like these really, you know, those blocks in New York City are super long. Like this really, really long blocks, like, and they show the people line, you know, the camera just panning all the way down the line, then hits the corner, and then just keeps going, and it's showing like all the people online again. Not one fucking chick in the fucking on the fucking line.
That's
Everyone
not true,
was the
John.
guy.
John, that's not true. I saw Blair White in there.
Yeah.
You know, I was in New York in 2015, and it wasn't that fucking gay.
Oh
So-
man, I was laughing because apparently like the producers who aired it didn't get that we would notice that. It was just like they just thought how many people want the vaccine, but there was not one female in there. Like there was not, you know, everybody there had a Y chromosome. It was just it was like the line was so long. I mean, you think it was like a line like giving away free money or something. I mean, it was ridiculous, and I was like, oh my god, and they didn't get it, you know.
So when I was in high school, this was like the late 90s, early 2000s, and there was still a lot of that, like, partly because I went to a very conservative high school and very conservative area, a lot of evangelicals running that school, and the health class was all about scaring you that, you know, if you have sex before marriage, your dick will fall off, and, you know, a demon will eat it, and all this other stuff. And I actually remember, this is one of the first times I really... It was a bit of a turning point. I wish I'd have kept this paper. I actually did the homework for once. And I, like, in the computer lab, I'm, like, printing out studies from the CDC. And I'm like, all this information you're telling us is bullshit. Condoms actually do not have a low... Like, they were telling us, like, condoms fail, like, 50% of the time. I'm like, when applied properly, condoms work 99% of the time against HIV.
If you put them on your dick,
against,
they work.
Yeah,
okay?
against
Yeah.
pregnancy.
If you keep them in your wallet, they don't.
They're
Yeah.
highly effective against those things. You know, and also I was quoting like the rate in heterosexuals of HIV is very low, and I'm quoting all these studies. In my head, I'm thinking, like, this teacher's gonna have to respond to this. You know what I mean? He's gonna have to like refute it with something else or admit he was wrong, God forbid. You know, in my head, I'm naive enough to think that, you know, he's gonna have to face this fucking stuff. And he wrote a note on there, and he basically said, like, well, yeah, we have to lie to you kids to keep you safe. and
Points for honesty, I guess.
that honestly stuck because he I don't remember the exact wording. This was, I'm not a young guy anymore. This was longer ago, and I care to admit, and I should have kept it. I didn't realize how important it was at the time, but it was like, you know, well, we have to exaggerate things to keep you kids safe, and we have to scare you so that you won't do it at all, and then all this other stuff. And I'm like, so you're just lying to me. You're just saying that you're lying to me, and you know.
Hold on. In defense of your
And you know-
teacher, like it was the same thing like when they told me that you go blind if you keep jerking off, because when I was like 12 years old, I wouldn't leave the bathroom. So, you know, they had to tell me this because, you know, I'd still be in there now. So,
Well, I'm
you
in
know,
there right
there's
now.
utility.
That's where my
There's
microphone
like
is.
there's a noble lie. It's a noble lie.
But no,
The problem is,
that was one of the first times I really realized. I was like, oh, okay, so like, and I kind of knew before, but it really just solidified. Oh, he's full of shit, and he knows he's full of shit. And I had moments before where I knew the teachers were wrong. You know what I mean? Like I knew they were just getting shit wrong, but I honestly just was like, well, they just don't know, you know. But oh wow, they're just
That's
lying to me.
kind of teachers to an extent. Like, not gonna lie, that's kind of what they end up doing.
Well, it's like you lie to kids because, you know, first off, you know, I mean, the sex thing, I mean, that isn't necessarily a bad thing unless they were actually telling you about, you know, the butt
Like-
sex is a loophole.
Well,
I don't know if evangelicals really
here's
saying
why
that.
I think it is a bad thing, John. Because I knew a lot of kids, and for example, I knew kids that were still fucking, but they wouldn't use condoms because what's the point? They don't work.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so
There's a
that's
lot-
what ends up. Look, it's pretty hard to get teenagers to not fuck. All right.
The Catholics are a fucking bad.
I mean, I don't know how they managed to do it recently with the Zoomers, but for the most part,
They don't fuck.
Yeah,
Zoomers
it's
don't
been-
fuck.
Yeah, I guess
One
all
of
you,
those
I
Zoomers
guess the whole time all we needed was a lot more autism. But for
Chris,
most of human
Who would have
history,
known?
it was pretty hard to get teenagers to not fuck.
Chris, the Catholics don't need fucking condoms now. They just need to be Zoomers.
But yeah, I knew a lot of kids that oh, well, what's the point of using condoms? And I was so terrified of getting a girl knocked up. I was like, no, I'm going to get some condoms. I mean, I knew even then.
You never slip one past the goalie in real life? Come on.
I knew even then that the last thing we needed was another me running around.
Nah, I'd actually love to see a second Bear Claw running around.
A little Betchelot.
Haven't I done enough damage?
Oh no, or however fucking Revenge of the Sith pronounces your fucking name.
Oh God, Royce will not pronounce my name for shit. And like the Streamlabs tips, you can't like pick your on Streamlabs you can pick a name, but like on Rumble you can't, and that's basically all they use. Oddly enough,
Well, I'm
Mersh
sorry,
gets it
you're
right.
weird.
I don't know why Mersh is the better reader.
Because he's fucking Irish. He's an Irish worker. The Irish actually make more fucking sense.
Oh man.
Oh, I was an Irishman. I totally agree.
Yeah, us Irish.
Well, James is
Because
Irish.
his name-
too, so.
You know what
Yeah,
stream
half
I was
Irish.
thinking of that back when I had a lot of guests on? I don't remember if you were on this, John, but I remember I had NC Clark and Zerse on this stream. We were watching the porn star interviews, and we watched the one with the chick who was like supposedly like actually married, and her husband was like a complete cock and all this other shit. And she's like, we're in a loving relationship.
I wasn't on that one. I would have remembered that. No, I don't think I was.
I think she literally had like a fucking choker that said like black owned or something on it. It was just full stop.
Oh, God.
Like and I was teasing Zerse. I'm like, Zerse, here you go. You want your 40 acres and a mule? Here you go. This middle-aged white woman. And like NC Clark was ripping into it hardcore. I just remember that because I sent that to Mersh once. I was like, hey, if you ever starve for content, because I had thought of that. I'm like, you should watch this video because it's fucking hilarious. Like,
What was she? So she was like a porn, like a real porn star.
I can't remember her name, but like we looked into her. She actually like is married and she only fucks black guys in porn, and that's like she's like full on like lifestyle cuck shit. Like
Not the funniest
like
one
she-
was the porn star with the
she might be
emotional
getting paid,
support
but she
lizard.
was in it for the love of the game.
Oh, okay. So she was a porn star, but she was like, oh, okay. So
Like she was just doing this before she was getting paid, and just figured she'd monetize her hobby, I guess.
One of the funniest ones was the porn star with the emotional support lizard. That was
Oh
hilarious.
God, Hannah Hayes.
See, no,
That one I
was
remember
funny.
the name of, Hannah Hayes. Okay.
That one freaked me out, actually.
So I
was
actually
like-
remember how I discovered that one too. Look, I'll admit I know more porn stars than I'd like to admit, but I hadn't heard of this one, right? So Forney was covering it on his stream. He's like, we got some literal retard sex. There's a porn star that's literally retarded. And in my head, I'm picking.
No. Can I just say, just really quickly, that bothered me because that girl.
Yeah,
is
I was
obviously
bothered
retarded.
by
She's
that.
mentally I think she had like fetal alcohol
So,
syndrome or something.
when-
like
when
that
Forney
girl is
said
not
that-
there. She can't consent.
When Forney said that, I'm picturing like a Down syndrome chick in my head, right? I'm picturing like, oh God, how far have we sunk? So I, type it into the image search, and there she is, and I'm like, she looks fine. What's wrong with her? And he goes, no. You have to hear her talk. And I did, and oh God, like she just talks in her fucking porn videos. I can't imagine beating off and hearing that voice and still being hard. Like I can't. So we watched her YouTube videos that she put out where she talked about how she had an emotional support lizard.
Emotional support lizard.
On
I
set.
saw that clip. Yeah.
And they wouldn't let her
No,
have
they wouldn't
it
let her. No, they wouldn't let her have it. Is what happened. That was the video.
because the lizard men that run porn thought it was
We're freaked
they were,
out. She had
they
like
were
a fucking-
territorial. They were puffing out like the big fin, like the Dilophosaurus from Jurassic Park.
Well, I think she like had like a Komodo dragon and shit. She wanted to bring on the set, and like people were, I don't know what the fuck, but what.
Her YouTube.
Who knows what the
So she had a YouTube channel where she was doing these little videos, the second one she did was called her tooth video. It was my 2th video.
I don't get it.
Instead of second, she thought it was 2th.
Oh God. No, so that's my point. Like, I really think that should have been like a criminal investigation.
No, she was not. She did not have the means to
the
consent.
ability to consent.
Like,
Yeah,
no,
she
this
couldn't consent.
I wouldn't have been like if I was. If this was a parallel universe where Beckloff was a porn star, I'd have walked onto that set and heard her talk and go, "I'm out."
Yeah, yeah. Well, one, I wouldn't be able to get my dick hard, and two, I didn't want to be
Exactly.
arrested.
You hear her. She's cute enough. She like when you just see her, you don't think it, but like when you hear her talk, you're like, "Oh God." And then I'm backing up into the bush like Homer Simpson. Like I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean that was. I think what's that crazy French Canadian guy?
JR or whatever. He used to.
Yeah,
he used to
Giuseppe or
do
something.
the show with Andy Worski.
He had her on actually to see if like she was like being exploited or something like that. Like I remember him having. I only saw like a small clip of it, but he actually had her on.
Yeah, he
like,
was trying to argue that she wasn't. It's like, yes, she was, Jay. Okay.
Oh no, was he? No, I think he was worried that like he had her on because he was like
They were trying to argue at one point that she just had a speech impediment. That she,
Have you heard of Jesus?
that she just talked like a retard, in other words. And it's like,
she's
no,
retarded.
she really was retarded. Dashing Rogue tips $5 and said, it should also be I think he means known, that there will be a welfare queen playing up the act. I've seen a lot of Spurgs play that type of porn star. Look, I don't think it was an act. I see what you're getting at there, Dashing Rogue. If that was an act from her, she is an Andy Kaufman level genius. Okay, she deserves a fucking
she's
Oscar.
Meryl Streep. She's
Because
fucking Meryl Streep.
that was an amazing fucking act. If that was an act, like.
Yeah. No, I mean he's right in the sense I'm sure there's chicks who do that, but no, if that was an act, like that's like Meryl Streep fucking, you know.
Well, like I would
quality
think
acting.
chicks that do that would be playing up like the bimbo archetype, not fucking short bus archetype. You know what I mean? There's a bit of a difference there.
Well, yeah. Also, most people have a repulsion to that. Like,
Yeah.
Remember you said like when you saw her picture, like, oh, okay, what's the big deal? Like, because she doesn't look like a down baby or anything. But then when you hear her talk, like, you know, if you were gonna fucking, if you were gonna rub one out to this, as soon as you heard her talk, you'd fucking lose wood.
No,
I
I
mean,
would not.
you know.
I would not be able to jack.
Yeah.
If I was beaten off to one of her videos and I heard her voice, I'd be like, "We're done with this video. Possibly we're done beating off for like the next week." Like,
Right, or more. Yeah. Well, I'm older, so. But yeah, no, like that. I don't see how people, unless you maybe they were trying to go for the like the pedo crowd or something because it was like the body of an adult with the mind of a child type of thing.
know.
Like maybe
I
that's.
don't.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they were going for. Because I mean, it was obvious to anybody that there was something wrong with this woman's cognitive abilities.
I'm not somebody that is like, oh, we have to ban porn. None of that shit. You know, consenting adults do what they want. But this is obviously somebody that just doesn't have the mental capacity to consent. Like, I mean, this is somebody that should be in some sort of fucking care of the state or something. Like, this person...
Yeah, no, she should be a ward of the state. I mean, could
This
this
person
woman
should
actually...
not be in control of their own life. They can't be. You know... Good God, I heard some of those Spurgs I remember at the time, like, she should be at home with a baby. I'm like, you want a baby to be... First of all...
No.
First of all, I believe the lore is supposedly this was the result of a car accident with her, but just on the off chance it's genetic, I don't want her breeding. And I don't want her in charge of a baby. I want a wellness check on the lizard. You know what I mean? I don't think she should be trusted with the lizard when you get right down to it, all right? Need to call the animal control. Like, can I even trust you to feed the lizard regularly?
Yeah. So that's the lore. Like she got like a.
That's what I remember hearing.
Yeah, that would explain it though. I mean.
I
like
could.
that.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know that she knows anymore.
Yeah, but anyway, it was gross. But enough of that shit. That's gross.
I do miss some of those were hilarious. The one thing I remember being struck by, and maybe this has changed for the better, but it was like 15 years, it was like 10 years ago we were doing this. But I was struck by how many of those porn stars that were being interviewed were just flat out busted. Like, just not, like, being hot is like the one part of your job that you have to do. And a lot of these chicks were like, good God, man.
Well, no, I don't think. Well, I mean, yeah, like a lot of porn stars are busted, but
A lot of
I
the
got
ones
an
we saw
explanation.
interviewed
No, no,
were
the
rough.
chicks that are like chicks that are 8, 9s, and 10s. They don't have to do porn to get rich. They can marry somebody. It's the chicks that are below that, right? They're the ones, if they want to make money and they're morons, they can do porn and just take a dick, right? So, but if a chick is like, an 8, 9, or a 10, she could just marry rich, or just, I mean, society just treats good-looking people, both male and female, treats them better. So it's much easier to succeed in life if you're attractive. So that's why that it's rare to see like a porn star that's, I mean, there are porn stars that are super, super hot, but generally they're the exception, right? The most of them, they're pretty busted. Like, they got bodies covered in tattoos or some weird shit, or also I remember a buddy of mine talking about this, about like he was in foster care. I have a friend of mine that was in foster care, and he said that like when you age out of foster care, he goes, all the men join the military and all the women go into porn.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he said that. He said that's kind of the thing with foster care. If you're a guy, you join the military. You went to the army, and if you're a girl, you go into porn.
I mean,
like you look at like,
it's kind of the same thing.
well,
It's kind
well,
of just throwing your body into a meat grinder either way.
Well, yeah, but he had a lot of benefits out of
In both cases, for the Jews.
Yeah. Hey, you said it, not me. But the first time. But no, but like there's benefits of being in the military. Like, like he got a VA loan to buy his home. I mean, shit like that. Like, I don't think that they have that kind of plan. I think he gets like all sorts of different benefits from being, ex-military. Where being in the porn, what do you have? Like, they don't have a 401k. Like, do you remember that Netflix series about porn? I think it was called like Hot Girls Wanted.
Yeah,
and
we watched a little bit of that on the stream too.
And it showed like there were a couple of girls that were in a porn, and like they like literally lost money because they had to pay for because they had all these medical bills, and you don't have any like medical insurance or nothing, so they had to pay all that shit out of pocket. And they're always going to, they're always catching something or getting, I don't know, getting their asshole stitched up.
I remember
or,
when we
whatever.
covered August Ames. This was the case. So this chick was in porn. Now the mainstream porn industry is, at least the heterosexual side of it, is pretty good at being a closed ecosystem. They're pretty good at trying.
Oh, I heard of it. Is this the suicide thing?
Yeah, at least 10 years ago when we covered this. The high end porn sites are pretty good at being a closed ecosystem. They test everybody regularly. They discourage you from ever being with somebody outside of the circle. You know what I mean? And August Ames was supposed to do a scene with somebody who had just started doing like also gay porn, and she's like, no, I'm not catching the gift, like we're not doing that, I ain't doing that. And they literally bullied her to fuck to death. Now she was already fucked in the head, she had depression and shit like that. Big shock that the porn star didn't have her shit together. But yeah, they just relentlessly bullied her to fucking kill herself. The fucking pink
I remember that
mafia
story.
shit.
Yeah. I didn't remember at the time though. Was she like famous though? Because I didn't even know her name until like after she killed herself. So was she like Jenna Jameson,
she
like
was
big name? Like,
she was supposedly a pretty big name in porn. I wasn't watching a ton of it at the time, so I couldn't really tell you. But she was in most of the big sites at the time. She was getting reasonably big money. She was one of the higher name ones.
so she was like making really good money, and then because I'm guessing like because she was probably thinking, okay, now no one would work with me because now I'm a homophobe or something. So like I'm unemployable, and that's probably why she. Well, I don't know what who knows. I heard. I do remember what's his name? Like I can't remember the guy's name, but he did a stream on her. It was kind of a big deal at the time. I remember that. Like she just literally offed herself because people said she didn't. Like, it wasn't a personal thing. It was just like, I don't work with people that do gay porn.
Yeah, it wasn't. She wasn't like anti-gay. It wasn't some weird, moral fagging from a porn star. It was just like, look, She said point blank in one of the posts that like the gay porn industry was not as good about diseases as the heterosexual one.
Yeah, they don't. I heard that they didn't even test. Like the
Yeah, it was a fucking free for all at that point. It was just whatever, man.
Yeah.
And at the time, at least the mainstream, quote unquote, it's a weird thing to say, but the mainstream porn industry in America was pretty good with testing. And she's just like, no, I'm not taking a risk. And I mean, you know, her body, her choice, liberals, but apparently not.
Apparently not, right?
Apparently you will suck the AIDS dick. Like,
Well, I mean, that's the thing about pornography. Like, the idea, like the way it's, like most people don't realize this because it's a total illusion. Like, there was a video I saw several years ago, and the guy was kind of trying to explain why is it that with free porn being so ubiquitous, why is it that people sign up for OnlyFans? And basically, he explained it. It was kind of really sad. It was basically because no, they're not signing up for the porn. They're signing up to try to have this like parasocial relationship with the girl. Like,
and speaking
so
of
it's not-
parasocial relationships, streamlabs.com/thebecloth.
Yes, yeah. Send those super chats.
Yes,
You pay pigs.
If you send enough, I might show you my butthole. No promises.
Yeah.
Or actually, pay me to not show you my.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you get. That's how you. Yeah, if you guys don't start, you send.
I'm going to start mailing you all pictures of my butthole if you don't start
Yeah,
coughing
so-
up the money.
You guys better just cough up a few bucks, guys. Come on, it's cheaper than a fucking decaf latte. Come on.
Taking my belt off right now. All right, I'm getting ready. You better do it.
But yeah, anyway, I forgot what I was gonna say, but whatever.
You know, the one thing we covered, because we went through a stream, and look, it was making me some donos at the time, but we went through a lot of porn star interviews, and we were covering the industry a lot because it just made for fucking shocking content. But the one thing that really struck me is just how fucking disgusting it really is behind. Because look, if you're looking at well-made porn, it looks all glamorous and everybody's in good shape and the lighting's on point. You know what I mean? It looks like a fucking dream. But behind the scenes, like people are shitting their pants and stuff. Like it's just disgusting.
Shit in
Like-
their pants.
Like there's one story this girl told about how she's dildoing some chick in the ass, right? And when she takes the dildo out, this girl just squirts diarrhea all over this other poor girl's face, right?
Wow.
And then she tells a story, and she's like, "So we just got cleaned up and got back to work." And I told a story of one time I was working on a machine at a factory, and it squirted clean machine oil in my face, and I went home because the day was over. Like, we'll try again tomorrow. I've had enough fun. Taking half of a sick day. We're done here. And I was like, I guess I gotta applaud these girls on their fucking work ethic. Because I can't think of any
well,
scenario where I would have had diarrhea squirted. I had safety glasses on too, by the way. This girl did not. I can't think of any fucking scenario where that would have happened to me, and I would have just gotten right back on the horse. Not fucking happening.
Well, no, you're right about the work ethic because I think 99.9% of humanity would say, that's it. That's
Yeah, I'm done for the day at least. All right, I'm gonna go home and cry.
At least, yeah. Maybe reevaluate my life choices after that point, But yeah, if she just literally just cleaned up, that's pretty nasty.
Just got cleaned up and got back to work. That's what makes America great. That good old fashioned Protestant work ethic. That's that can-do attitude that got us to the moon. All right.
Either go, no go for fucking launch.
You think the astronauts just quit because it was getting uncomfortable? Failure is not an option.
That's right. Yeah, can you imagine the director like wearing like that he's buttoning his top button and straightening his tie and saying, failure is not an option. This will be our finest moment.
It was actually Gary Sinise directing that porn that day, and he said to him, "Think of the troops, ladies."
Well, yeah, some of them are. Well, I mean,
where
no,
would
but, like,
we
that
be if the
documentary-
people at Normandy had that quit attitude?
Yeah, but like the shit that these girls, don't pun intended, but like that they do to their bodies And it's like, I think a lot of it is just ignorance because a lot of them are like, what, 18, 19 years old? Like, that's kind of the people that are, girls that get into this for the most part. Like, they're right, they're college age, right? That's pretty much it's the target that they recruit from because that's what people want to see, right? Like, I think the number one search term in porn is teen. So they always go, they want people that are teens or they look like they are. So that's pretty much what, those are the people that can make the money. And then when you get to be, older, unless you become famous, like, like the Jenna Jameson types or whoever the big names are now, I don't know who they are, but, those people have, they develop some sort of brand or whatever, and they can be famous. But for the most part, like if these girls in porn, they got to make their money like really fast when they're young because that's not like a business with, generally speaking, that's not a business with like longevity. I mean, how many porn stars are like 45?
There's a porn star named Brandy Love that's a MILF porn star. I sometimes I follow her on Twitter. Like I'll follow people for a while and get kind of tired of them and unfollow them just because I don't want too many people I'm following just clogging up the thing. But she's oddly enough like super fucking MAGA and conservative, even though she does porn.
Oh, I think I heard of her. Did she go to some conservative event? And
she did, and they got all mad at her for being a porn star.
Yeah, no, I think I heard about it. Is it the same? Is she blonde, right?
I'm like, yeah. It's like, I'm sorry to tell you,
like
I think you're more libertarian, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I think I heard it, but yeah, and a lot of people were like, I can't remember who was saying it, but it's like, yeah, well, what is that? You can suck 50 dicks and that makes you conservative just because you want lower taxes. It's like,
well, as long as they're Israelis.
Maybe that's it. But I mean so she's been around a long time. Like, yeah, she was kind of older. I don't know how old she is, but that she's kind of an exception. Most porn stars are, between the 18 to 24 range. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be exceptions like that, but they are the exception.
I wonder if there's like a dead zone between like when you look like a teen and then you look like a MILF. I wonder if there's just a dead zone where you look like just a normal adult woman, but you can't get any work.
Like
put a wig on them, yeah. You haven't gotten into the MILF zone yet, but you're not. You're not. There's certain age ranges in Hollywood where like the work kind of dries up, where it's like you're too young for a lot of roles, but not old enough for a lot of other ones.
Yeah, but I mean, they can always make you like. It's actually just to change the channel for a second. I was talking to my buddy a couple of nights ago. He's a big film buff like me, and we were talking about that. Do you remember that movie with Russell Crowe where it was about the tobacco industry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I can't think of the name. I can picture it.
Yeah, I think he was not. I don't know if he won an Academy Award, but he was nominated for it. He might have won it, but and he was talking about like he was sent that script, and he goes, it was the first time in my life I was sent a script, and he goes, I didn't know which character they were sending me this for, because like the character was like older, and they had to age him, and he had to gain like a bunch of weight like to fit the role, but they didn't even tell him. Like they just thought it would be self-evident who they wanted him to play, and he read the script, and he's like, who am I supposed to be? Like, I don't know which character you're sending me this for. Is it like one of the supporting roles? Was it the Al Pacino role? Was it the whoever the main character's role was? Like, he honestly didn't know because they had to age him and, give him gray hair, and he had to put on like 50 pounds and like, all this kind of shit for him to look anything like the real guy,
I actually remember when we were covering all that stuff, there was a porn star named Maitland Ward who used to work in Hollywood. She was a former child star. Had been in like Boy Meets World and shows like that.
Oh, was she the Disney chick or something?
Yeah, she had been a show Boy Meets World.
Or Mickey Mouse.
It was produced by Disney, but it was on ABC. She was, as a teenager, she was in that, and she swears up and down. Now she's in the high end of the porn industry, but she swears up and down that Hollywood was a worse environment.
Doesn't surprise me.
Oh, she has red hair, right? That's why you're talking about her.
Well, I actually remember because I had a huge crush on the chick that played Topanga, right? And I remember when I saw that fucking article, like as I'm looking up show prep, and it says former Boy Meets World stars doing porn now. And in my head, I'm like, oh God, is it Topanga? Because I'm going to get that fucking subscription and you're not going to see me for like a week.
That glove we found all like in the basement, fucking dehydrated.
Dehydrated, one chapped arm. and the rest of me looks like a fucking mummy they pulled out of a tomb. The last word scratched on the wall. I regret nothing.
But yeah, I remember that. That thing that Disney. Yeah, she got into porn like she was like old for. I'm not saying she's an old woman, but I mean.
No,
old
she
for
was like in her 30s and all when she got into porn. She was in the MILF category, I guess. But yeah, she was all like, "It's better in Hollywood." I'm like, all right, I'm not even gonna argue with you. I don't.
Yeah, she probably is right. Well, isn't there like a big thing now about Justin Bieber? Like, there's all this talk about.
Yeah, he probably got fucked by Diddy.
Well, yeah, wasn't there like some weird thing like where the parents like made Diddy his like legal guardian for
a
like
weekend?
And I'm like, why would you do that? Like,
I guess they.
I mean, sincere question. I'm not even trying to be a dick about this. Like, I don't.
Because then Diddy could rape him. I guess I don't know. At this point, I have to believe they were in on it. I mean.
Yeah, but rape is still not legal, even if someone is. You can't just because you're the legal guardian of someone. You're not allowed. That doesn't give you.
Well, look, all I'm going to say, Bieber, is at least you got millions of dollars at it, okay? I didn't even get my candy. So. Some of us have it way worse, all right?
Yeah, but I mean, who knows what the... Well, because it's just to talk about the Diddy thing just for a moment. Like, there's a guy that had... It's like an ex-mafia dude. Like, he was a made man, and he went to prison. His dad was head of one of the families. Way back. He's an old guy now, and he went to prison. He did time and everything like that. But he interviewed a bodyguard that was he primarily worked for models, like supermodel types, and he was a bodyguard. And he talked about where he was at a Diddy party, and where one of the he had the one girl that he was primarily in charge of, but she was with friends. And he goes, a lot of these chicks like weigh like 100 pounds soaking wet. They're like 6 feet tall, but they weigh like 100 pounds. And he was saying that one of them basically he was saying the drink was spiked. He goes, I didn't see them do it, but the way they all of a sudden they started to behave after a few sips, like you could tell, and he got them out of there. And he said he actually got into a confrontation with Diddy's like posse or entourage to get his protectorate out of there. So, I wish I knew the name of the channel of the guy, but he was saying, yeah. And then, like, one of the protocols that he said to when he has a protectorate now is, like, he says that if they go to a party, he goes, no, the drink has to be opened, the bottle has to be opened in front of me and poured into the glass in front of me. Otherwise, don't serve it to my protectee.
We're going to get you one of them to-go cups with a lid, like at McDonald's, and a straw.
Yeah, well, no, he literally that's like his policy now because he's this big fucking black dude, and he was like, apparently he became like a big deal in the it's just like these massive guys, like you can't tell where where's fat and where's muscle because they're just
I know them. Them like, king, yeah. I call it the kingpin from Spider-Man body build, where it's just they look fat but they're strong as an ox.
Yeah, like you're not going to mess with these guys, right? Unless you got a gun, because and even then you want to make sure it's like got 45 cal or larger. But he was one of those guys, and he basically said that he had certain apparently he started protecting women, and he got a good reputation, really caring about, because he was kind of like a teddy bear guy. I mean, as far like he was sincerely trying to protect these women, and he said that he got into it with because they wanted these girls for their Diddy part, he said there was an after party. He described the whole protocol where at first when Diddy would have these parties, it was open to everybody. And then there'd be like, okay, it's 10 o'clock. All the normies have to leave. And then after then it would get all this crazy shit. That's basically the way he described it.
Then out comes the baby oil.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when his the girl he was with, and he got her the fuck out of there, and they were like trying to stop him because apparently somebody wanted to have their way with, he wouldn't say the name for obvious reasons, and he said he goes, it became physical.
People always used to see these like child stars go crazy when they were like 18, 19, and just lose their fucking minds, and it used to be like, oh, well, it's just kid that age with all that money and fame and power, and it just goes to their head. And that never totally rang true to me, because like when I was 19, if you gave me millions of dollars and the whole world was kissing my ass, I'd be an insufferable tool. Like, I'm going to park my Lambo across 3 handicap spaces, suck my dick. But I'm not going to, like, go crazy and shave my head and say I am the Lizard Queen. You know, that shit.
Well, in fairness, Becklove, if I were to give you, like, $100 million now, you would do that.
I might do it now because I've been through some shit.
As a
But at
super
that
chat.
age, I'm probably just going to be an absolute asshole. But that's because they just fucking got molested, okay? It's like suddenly they're having flashbacks to when Dan Schneider sucked their toes when they were 10 years old. And that's why they go nuts like that. Like,
Oh yeah,
it,
what
it makes
happened?
perfect
Did he ever go
fucking
to-
sense now. Like,
Did he ever go to jail?
I don't know if he did or
I don't
not.
think he did.
I mean, they stuck
'cause
Harvey
he-
Weinstein in jail, and he was doing it to consenting adult women.
Well, I don't think they were consenting. But,
Well, I mean, they wanted the job, didn't they? They wanted to be a star, didn't they?
no, no. There were some women that, I remember you talked about this on your show when that was a whole big thing. Like, how did you just? You said it was a transaction. Like, they understood that.
Yeah.
Okay, I fucked this guy, I get the part, and
Look,
that's.
I think the women with Harvey Weinstein, like, they regret it because you're not supposed to be a whore, but that's not the same thing as rape. All right, like,
Yeah.
it's not. I'm just, like, let's not water down words. It's not. All right, like, it was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done it. But it's not rape. All right, let's calm down. It's like,
Yeah, but there was a lot of women that, like, I think one of the reasons that was this, because there was a lot of, because that was the, what's the chick from, is it Jennifer Lawrence? The
yeah, she was one of the big
Hunger
ones with
Games.
him.
Yeah, and apparently she did do it. Like she never spoke about it, but apparently like that's, and there was a bunch of, what's that chick's name? Like her mother and her daughter are singers. Ashley Judd. Like apparently, like he came up. She was like in the 90s. She was like starting to, because she used to be hot. Like if you go back and you see her like, 25
Oh yeah,
plus years ago,
she was a good looking woman for a long time.
yeah, and she's not anymore. I mean, she's really showing her age.
They all
but-
age.
Yeah, and but anyway, she was apparently one of the people that he, tried to come up, and she was like, I mean, and he's an ugly as fuck looking dude, so I understand like some women, even women that might be open to that, like they might be like, yeah, with some guys they could do it, but him,
Yeah,
that's
you
just asking.
afterwards you probably regretted it, but I don't know what to tell you. That's between you and God. Like at a certain point, like, and you know what? I'm just gonna say it. We had hotter chicks in the movies when Harvey was in charge, so like, we didn't have to all pretend like Zendaya was a fucking sex symbol under Harvey Weinstein. Okay. Like, we didn't have to have ugly mulatto Mary Jane in a Spider-Man movie, so, I kind of miss it. I mean, I didn't even say.
I understand, but I got a question for you though about like kind of on this what you just mentioned. Like, why are you such a big fan of the new Snow White movie?
I can't say that I am. I can't say that I'm
Yeah,
a big
don't
fan
you
of the new Snow White movie. I'm not a particularly huge fan of the original Snow White movie when you get it down there. It's fine.
Oh, really?
I mean, I recognize it for the important piece of animation history it was, but even as a kid, I was like, this is all right, but Aladdin's better. like,
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
this is fine.
Well, I mean,
but
it did come out. It did come out in 1937. So
even
there's
for
that.
like old Disney movies, I'd rather watch Pinocchio. Pinocchio is a lot better.
I don't know. I thought Snow White was cute.
It's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It just was never something that I really attached to as a kid. It's like I watched it and I was like, that was cool, and then I moved on with my at the time short little life.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't saying the movie should be life changing. I'm just saying that what they did to that film. Like I was watching a bunch of. There's a whole group of people that all they do is just. I think this is a good thing now because it's gotten away from like the Roger Ebert types, where.
And why is it always going to be an ugly bitch too? Like, there are hot mulatto women. Some of them are smoking hot. Think of Mariah Carey in her prime. Like, it ain't even just
Mariah Carey was. I never found her hot. I would say.
It's like it's Zendaya's like, you doll her up to the max, and you got a girl next door at best. All right. And I'm supposed to believe this woman's a fucking sex symbol just because she's the beard for obviously gay Tom Holland? Like, get fucked. All right.
Oh, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland is gayer than cum on a mustache. Okay, you can't
I
tell
don't
me
even know who
otherwise.
Tom Holland.
He's the current Spider-Man, and he's been in some other stuff no one's cared about. But he is.
And he's a fag.
He is the gayest looking mother. This is eight guys blowing 9 guys is not as gay as Tom Holland.
Oh, God, that's gross.
That's remember that's an extra dick left over. All right, and it's still not as gay as Tom Holland.
Oh, remember that thing you said you used to like that TV show like from 10 years ago called Arrow, and you said one of the things that you said I never want to know about the personal lives of the actors.
Yeah, I don't. I don't want to ruin it. I love the guy that played Arrow. That played Oliver Queen in that show. He's been in some other stuff I've seen him in. He was Casey Jones in one of the Ninja Turtle movies. Love that guy. Love everything I've seen him in. If I saw him at a convention, I'd scream like a girl. Oh my God, it's Oliver Queen. I don't want to know shit about him because maybe he's a great guy. I don't know. He's probably an empty-headed fucking buffoon who let a Jew fuck him in the ass to get his job. Like at the end. Now,
that's the last.
Now,
part is
thankfully,
what you said.
it was a Jew, and they're not known for packing, so he probably barely felt it. You know, you just kind of think of something else for a couple minutes, it's over, and now you get to be Oliver Queen. So whatever. I mean, you made your choice. Live with it, I guess.
Yeah, I get the price.
We all got to make our sacrifices in this world. I mean, I don't even have a job right now, so who am I to talk?
Well, you can move to Hollywood and give up your asshole. And
I guess. I don't know that it's really in demand right now. Maybe when I was 20, could have gotten away with that, but I don't know at the age of 42 if I'm getting a lot of roles for it. But I'm not getting many Streamlabs donations right now, so I'm getting a little desperate.
Yeah, guys, come on.
Hey, Harvey, what do you say? Can I
someone give him $1? Is it that hard? Like somebody listening?
Can I just be a background Shield agent in an Avengers movie? For God's sakes, I need to work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I've known people who've done that, worked as extras, and it's like, I forget, like basically it's like they pay you like it's like 100. Well, maybe it's more now. But it used to be $100 in food, and that's what they did. Like, so it's less than minimum wage because like these shoots like a day shoot on these shows can be like 16, 18 hours.
I guess it depends what you're doing. If you're just like sitting in the background in a cafe or something in this shot, then it's like there's probably worse ways to spend a day. You know what I mean? But if it's something where you got to be in some uncomfortable costume in the background for hours, like if I'm an extra and I got to sit in a makeup chair for more than 10 minutes, I'm out.
Well, no, because I remember, I knew a girl that used to do this like years and years ago in Seattle. Like every once in a rare while, they would be filming something in Seattle, and she was on the email list, and she used to get. And back then, it was like $60 or $70, but they fed you. And some people are not doing it for the money. This is like because they.
I'm sure it's a cool experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and plus you get to see the actors, and I know, like, you remember Ann Sturzinger? She did this once. She told me the story. Like, she was, I don't know if I can say the name of the show, but it was like a network TV show that had a guy's, the first letter of his name began with L, and the last was J, LL, and he was a very cool guy. Anyway, so she was like, she actually was an extra on these shows, and she just got paid this like a flat fee of like I think it was like $100 or thereabouts, and they did dress her up like in something, and I think maybe her elbow made it into the final cut of the show. Like I don't even know.
I think once they give you a line, even if it's like one line, I think.
Yeah, well then you got to be a SAG.
Yeah, then you got to get full actor benefits.
Yeah, but like but they did, like she said, like they put her in a dress and they did her hair and her makeup, and she was even saying like the food, it wasn't even like a cheap buffet thing. She said they put us in a bus and they drove us to this fancy restaurant, and they, I was like, oh really? That doesn't sound so bad then. So like, they fed you and they, you got to, and also if you're into the whole Hollywood scene, like the experience is kind of cool. I mean, it wouldn't have any interest for me now, but if I was in my 20s or something, like I could see like wanting to do that. You know what I mean? Like just for the experience of it. And also she said all the stars were around her, like, cause she was saying like the star guy, like he was listening to his headphones, and she said, I remember she telling me this anecdote, like she goes, "Hey, what's up?" And he took off his his headphones, and he thought she was asking him a question, and she was like, "No, I was just saying hello," and he just like gave her a look like, "Oh God," and then put
How
his
dare
headphones
you
back
speak
on.
to me?
No, he wasn't.
then
He thought, yeah.
He tried to have her killed, but he had the wrong person killed.
No, I don't. Well, anyway, I don't know about anything like that. But anyway, but it was just the point is like that's kind of part of this whole like Hollywood, culture thing. And
There's a
forgot even
funny
where I was
little
going.
video like I saw Jeff Goldblum do, where he goes, people ask me all the time, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Goldblum or Goldblum? And I always tell him the same thing. How dare you speak to me?
Yeah, but he's Jewish, so.
There's supposedly another funny story, and I think Bill Murray confirmed it and all, where he went up to somebody at like a restaurant and took some of their fries and said, "No one will believe you." He was on
I can
Rogan a
picture
couple
that so
months
clearly
ago.
in my head too.
He was on Rogan.
No, I
a
got a
couple
fun.
months
I got a
ago.
fun.
It's
No,
really
hold on.
good.
I got a funny story about Eddie Murphy, right? So this is an old David Letterman, like back when he was on, like after Johnny Carson, like way back, right? And like back when Eddie Murphy was funny, and they had two guests. They had Dick Cavett and Eddie Murphy, right? And you're thinking they're like polar opposite type of people, because Dick Cavett kind of comes across as this like highly cerebral kind of stuffed shirt, and at the time, Eddie Murphy was just like delirious, throwing around f-bombs left, right, and center, and everything like that. So they're both on the Dick Cavett was the first guest, and then Eddie Murphy comes on, and then you find out that Eddie Murphy and Dick Cavett are like friends, and like everybody's kind of like shocked, like what the fuck do they have in common, And then so Eddie Murphy's telling a story. He goes, yeah, so I think like I don't know if they were doing like SNL or something like that, like back in the early days, when it was some like reggae band that was going to be playing there, and they had those dreadlocks, and Dick Cavett says, Eddie Murphy's telling the story, and he goes, Dick comes to me and he goes, I heard that the reason that those blacks get those dreadlocks is they put goat shit in their hair. That's what makes the dreadlocks, and Eddie's like, nah, man, I don't think that's how they get it. He goes, well, I'm gonna go ask him, and he's like, Dick, I don't think that's a good idea, And then Dick goes up to them and he goes, yeah, I heard the way you guys get your dreadlocks is you put goat shit in your hair, and then like the whole band starts staring at him, and Eddie's like, and Dick's about to get his ass kicked right now, right? And then so, he walks away and he goes, damn, Eddie, that's not true. Why'd you tell me that? But it was it was really funny because what's his name, Letterman freaked out because he dropped the F-bomb on he said shit, he said goat shit and stuff like that, and Letterman was like freaking out. But anyway, it was pretty funny.
There was a bit Murphy had back in the day where he talked about, like, back when Bill Cosby had that pristine reputation, he called Eddie Murphy up supposedly and had given him shit about all the swearing in it, right? And he goes, Bill Cosby's a real legend. I started to feel bad, and I talked to Richard Pryor about it, and Richard said to me, did the people laugh when you said those things? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, then you tell Bill to have a Coke and a pudding pop and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. No, I remember that clip. It was even went on more than that. He was like, do people laugh when you say a joke? He goes, yeah. He goes, do you get paid when you say that? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, tell Bill I said have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. It's like, but actually I saw Bill Cosby live, and I think it was '99, and he was in Seattle, and he was, I swear, I don't think he cursed once, but it was one of the funniest shows I ever saw.
Bill Cosby was really funny, and he was funny clean, which is hard to do.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd enjoy it that much, because the only reason I went, my buddy got free tickets, and he just said, you want to go? And I was like, well, yeah, whatever. But I wasn't like, that was kind of the best, because I had no expectations, right? Because I wasn't thinking it's going to be that funny. But man, this motherfucker was hysterical, and he never cursed once.
You can be funny clean, but to me, I liken it to being like a great boxer with one arm. You know what I mean? Like, it's theoretically possible you can go out and win a boxing match with an arm tied behind your back, but you're at a pretty massive disadvantage right out of the gate. Like, you kind of got to be the best of the best to pull that off. And it always did drive me nuts. Bill Cosby used to run around like shit talking everybody that wasn't doing what he was doing. It's like, yeah, Bill, you have a unique gift. Not everyone can do that.
Yeah, well, I think it was because he was really because do you remember he used to take out these ads like in like regular magazines? Like I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but he used to take out ads in magazines, like pay for it himself, about like grammar and stuff like that. Like just like educating kids about how to read and write. And like most people know this, but like Bill Cosby had like 10 PhDs, like they were honorary PhDs, but he had them because he couldn't stand blacks like he hated ghetto culture. Like I remember him getting a bunch of shit from black people because he was mad that they were all naming their daughters like Letitia and Waniqua or whatever, this kind of thing, and he's like, why are you doing? Yeah, exactly. And he was like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you and because he hated that. Like because he had become, he came up during the time when there was like total amount of like, racial discrimination, everything like that. And he overcame all that shit. And he was like, why are you like purposely trying to, he just hated it. And I'm not like excusing all his rape shit or anything like that. But I mean, he was honestly sincere about this stuff where he was trying to, at least in his own mind, trying to better people.
I remember he went up towards the end of his show's run. He went up against his show was up against The Simpsons, and it had beaten him in the ratings, and he was pretty fucking ass mad about that back in the day. Like he in a few interviews was like, I just don't like the way TV's going, and this is bad, and he was not happy about that at the time.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, if you were him, you probably wouldn't be either.
Well, if I was him, I'd probably just be cashing my checks and be quite happy with it. I really don't think. I really don't think if I had millions of dollars, there'd be a lot of things in the world that would piss me off. I really don't. I think that would, for better or worse, I think I'd just be like, "Cool, man. I'm gonna just enjoy my money." Like I would.
Yeah, but if you look at like a lot of actors or comics or what, like these older guys, and you're saying, why are they still acting? It's because they wouldn't know what to do with themselves if they didn't. Like they're not doing it for the money anymore. Like Jay Leno still does stand-up acts. You think he's doing it because he needs money? It's like no, the guy just would know what. He just wouldn't know what to do with himself. So like he's gonna retire when he gets dementia or dies, whichever comes first. So and there's a lot of people like that. Like to him, it's not. He doesn't even have kids, so it's not even like he's doing it like because he wants to leave a legacy. He's just doing it because that's. I remember him joking about this, like people saying, "Oh yeah, I worked with him." They were talking to like making a movie or something. I worked with him, and Jay Leno was like, "What do you mean you built a fence? What do you?" Because this isn't work. Because what we do isn't work. This is fun. This is a dream job. We get paid, millions of dollars to like fucking tell jokes and entertain people and get laughs and massive amounts of adulation from people all over the world. He goes, that's not a job. A job is like what you got to.
I remember Joan Rivers actually said this. It was somewhere I saw an interview late in her life, really towards the end, right before they killed her because she was talking about Michelle Obama being a dude, and
right.
She starts running her mouth about Michelle Obama being a dude and then just dies in routine surgery. Kind of makes you think. Anyways, she talked about like what, she viewed what she did as genuinely a calling. She's like, I'm very blessed to do this. And she said, I like the fact that, people work hard. Life is hard. I like the fact that I can make someone's day better. Like she genuinely viewed it as a calling. And then they killed her because she was talking about Michelle Obama being a man.
Well, I think she might have been died because she had like 50 fucking. Because I remember Dr. Drew talking about this to a friend of his. That was,
I don't know. Look, I'm just throwing that out there. It's like one of those things.
Well, he said that he said that people like when they get like a certain number of plastic surgeries, they literally just die, and like we don't know why. He goes, but they do. And like Joan Rivers had like.
You're only allowed to have so many faces.
Yeah, like she literally had like so many plastic surgeries, and she was still ugly as sin. But the point is, like she just kept going.
I mean, she just kept pulling.
Yeah, she was old. Yeah, but yeah. There's a certain age. there's a certain age where you probably shouldn't be having plastic surgery just because, going under general anesthesia has risks no matter what age you are. So, there's that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I guess my point is that there are some people that, like, it's not about the money for them. It's like, well, what am I going to do? Like, play golf? I don't like golf. Like, what would I do with myself? Like Jay Leno doesn't, he never spent it. I remember him talking about, like, I don't know if you remember this, like if you're old enough to, like there was this big sparring thing between Jay Leno and David Letterman when David Letterman always thought he'd get Johnny Carson's spot when Johnny Carson retired, and they gave it to Jay Leno, and then Letterman went over to another network, and it was this big thing. They even made like a TV movie, but I never watched it. But and David Letterman ended up getting paid like twice what Jay Leno got paid, but Jay Leno didn't care, and Jay Leno said, he goes, "I don't even have a manager." And David Letterman had a manager and a publicist and an agent and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, well, how, Jay Leno, I remember he was interviewed once. He goes, well, how did you do your contract negotiations? He goes, well, I went into the CEO of NBC and I asked them, they asked me, how much do you want? And they said, well, what are you offering? They goes, $20 million. He goes, fine. And that was the end of the meeting.
Yeah, I'd be like that too. I'd be like, oh, you're cool. And somebody would be like, you could have gotten $25 million. I'd be like, yeah, but I got 20.
Or $40 million. Yeah, because David Letterman was getting $40 million. But he goes, I don't give a shit.
By the way, David Letterman was getting $40 million to routinely be getting spanked by Leno in the ratings.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they were very close and competitive, but Leno beat him more often than Letterman beat Leno.
Yeah, like initially it was close, but then Leno like totally, and also like Letterman just, I don't know, he had like. The thing about Leno was the reason I liked Dave Letterman, like when he was on after, like when I was a kid, when he was on like after Johnny Carson, like when I was really young, when I could stay up, and he was kind of funny then because he was kind of like edgy, and it was he probably wasn't getting paid the really big bucks and everything like that. This is before like cable and satellite and all that kind of shit, and but then when this whole Letterman Leno thing kicked off, like there was like a meanness to him or something like that. You know what I mean?
Letterman never took that well. He always thought he got robbed on that.
Yeah, and it came out in his, because like the thing about like why no one watches late night now is because all these people, it's political. Like when back in the days, those people were old enough to remember, like Jay Leno, like he would make fun of Democrats and Republicans and stuff like that, but it wasn't like mean, like, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't like a real mean spirit to it. It was just legitimately funny because the whole idea of it was, okay, we already watched the news. Now, Leno comes on after the news. Now we just want something, we want a good laugh and go to sleep. You know what I mean? We don't want to be thinking about, geopolitical situations and the divisions in the country. I mean, we come to this kind of to be a cathartic healing kind of jokes. You know what I mean? Not like further dividing us, like that. I mean, that's my take on it.
Well, it's hard to be funny when you're preaching at the audience. I mean, you can have a bias and an axe to grind even, but like, I said earlier, there's a difference between art and propaganda, and there's a difference, and that applies to comedy. You have to be kind of honest to some extent, and that means you have to be willing to rip into your own side. You have to be,
Yeah, exactly. And Leno did that. Like, he didn't even really, have it. I mean, the only time he got really political was, I'm trying to remember the governor of California before before the recall. And it was only because they kept having these, I don't know if you followed the news back then, these roving blackouts.
Yeah, I remember when he was having the brownouts on his show.
Yeah, and Jay Leno like couldn't stand that. I mean, the fucking power's going out in the middle of my house. Like so he couldn't stand that guy. But it wasn't because he was a Democrat. It was just because he was the guy in power when it was happening. So he kind of supported Schwarzenegger, but it wasn't based on some ideology. He was like, I just want a guy that can keep the fucking lights on. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like that was all he cared about. Like I'm restoring a fucking 1962 Jaguar, at 11 o'clock at night, and this motherfucker turns out the lights on me where I'm fucking trying to weld a quarter panel. You know what I mean?
Well, we've gone on for about 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Folks, if you enjoy the content I put out, streamlabs.com/thebacklaw. Need the money. Send him money. PayPal.me.
Yeah, send him money. Send him the money. He
Lots
needs
of
some
money. Need lots of money.
He does. He
And
needs money.
I'll put a
He
link
can't
to the
afford the
Amazon
monkey
wish
packs.
list down below if you want to get me something off there. But to be honest, I'd prefer the money right now. And
Give him the money, man. The man can't eat. Come on.
I need the money, man. I'm wasting away. You should see me.
Listen away.
Just starving Marvin over here. And that's about